A lonely scientist builds the ultimate animated human being, the gentle Edward. The scientist dies before he can finish assembling Edward, though, leaving the young man with a freakish appearance accentuated by the scissor blades he has instead of hands. Loving suburban saleswoman Peg discovers Edward and takes him home, where he falls for Peggy's teen daughter. However, despite his kindness and artistic talent, Edward's hands make him an outcast. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 1990's Edward Scissorhands, directed by Tim Burton. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. Thanks for joining us here on this episode of Edward Scissorhands, the Johnny Depp to my Tim Burton. Zohaib Ali, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, the Johnny Depp to your Tim Burton. Nice.
You could have been the Amber Heard of my Johnny Depp, so let's.
I was about to say that. Yeah, man, I'm good. How are you? What's happening?
I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about this. This was my pick. I very much so enjoy this movie. But before we get into all that, guys, if this is your first time listening to the show, there is an E on this motherfucker for a reason. This is an explicit show. We are going to go through this entire movie that is as old as I am. So if you haven't seen it before, obviously a spoiler warning. Now, at the end of it, we're going to give our final thoughts, probably read some listener comments and stuff. But if you like the show and you want to check us out more, you can find us on our socials. We have the After Party, which is our group on Facebook. It's everybody's invited to that. It's 3 words, the After Party. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. And we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. On there, you can sign up for the green room. It's $5 a month. Everybody gets 2 extra episodes a month. And really all this stuff you can find at midnightdoublefeature.com. That's where we have like our written reviews and merch, like this coffee cup I'm currently drinking out of, and free balloons for the kids. But with that out of the way, also rate and review on iTunes. With that out of the way, let's do Edward Scissorhands. Tim Burton, man. It's been a minute. Usually Tim Burton is, if we discuss Tim Burton, it's me bringing Tim Burton to the table. And I'll be honest, not even really one of my favorite directors, but I enjoy Tim Burton, but I don't really know exactly how. I'm sure you don't hate him, but I don't know exactly how you feel about him. What did you think of this?
Yeah, we talked about Tim Burton when we talked about Big Fish, right? And we've covered Batman Returns. It's not our first Tim Burton go around. I hadn't seen this movie since 7th grade.
Damn. Goddamn.
And we watched it for school, for English. So it was like broken up into 3 or 4 different viewings because, class is only like an hour or something like that. And, we didn't watch the movie throughout the entire hour or whatever. And then I watched it again for the podcast. And my memory of this movie is that I saw it all the time at Blockbuster, walking down the aisles and shit. And seeing the photo of it, the cover of it, and even the title, Edward Scissorhands, and knowing that this is about a guy with scissor hands. And for the longest time, I thought this was a horror movie. I thought this was a slasher. I dead set thought this was a slasher.
I thought the same thing with What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I was so fucking disappointed as a kid.
So imagine my surprise when I'm sitting there in 7th grade. And we get obviously we get the castle and stuff, whatever, first, but then we get the utopia that is the little town, and this lovely woman walking up and just knocking on doors, and Avon calling, and I'm just like, what am I watching here? So I guess as a teenager or young teenager, I was a bit disappointed because it wasn't what I thought it would be. And watching it again for the rewatch, I thought, I had a great time watching it. It's a very breezy hour 40, hour 45.
Hell yeah.
Very, very light. I belly laughed so many fucking times. So many times, dude.
Uh-huh.
But then, I was also kind of, looking at it okay, man, this is such a critically acclaimed film. And, everyone loves this movie. I go to Steph, I'm like, for the week, for this week, we're doing Edward Scissorhands. What do you say? We sit down, put it on, whatever. And she's like, "Oh my god, I love that movie." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. All right, no worries." So let's hit it up. Let's watch it. And I kind of walked away being a bit empty. I was just like, what is this movie about? What's it telling me? The I think that for me, the central love story doesn't work. I don't buy their
Yeah.
relationship. I don't buy. See, I buy that Edward Scissorhands is in love with Winona Ryder's character. I
Right.
don't buy the vice versa. I don't
Right.
buy that Winona Ryder is enthralled with Edward. I get that she's enthralled with him because he's a unique dude, but I don't like. It doesn't. At no point does the movie kind of like insinuate that she's gotten over some kind of hump to look past his scissor hands and look past his
Mhm.
grotesqueness, and like he's a kind dude with a kind heart, but I mean the movie doesn't make that clear from Winona's. It's kind of like I'm gonna call her Winona, by the way, the entire thing. um
Sure.
but like I get that Scissorhands is enthralled with it, right? I mean, like he's up there in that castle trying to pull his pud for like, the last 20 years or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
he's just like it's not working for me, and the first, I mean, like come on, it's Winona Ryder, she's 18 at the time of filming, like I mean, who wouldn't, right? I mean, come on. Um
Especially, Johnny Depp. I mean, come on.
right. Yeah, exactly. And I think they were engaged at this point.
Right,
1990.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
1990.
That's kind of what I was insinuating, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. But like, let's not beat around the bush. You just wanted to talk more about Joyce Byers, right? You didn't get it
Oh,
out
hell
enough
yeah.
in the two
Absolutely.
Stranger Things bonus episodes. um,
Absolutely.
but like, ultimately, I think it's a fine movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's fine. Like, it really kind of like made me look at like Tim Burton, and I'm like, do I like you, Tim Burton? Do I like you as a
Right.
storyteller? Because like I was looking through his like resume, and yes, there are quite a few that I haven't seen. Some big ones that I haven't seen. The main one being Beetlejuice and Ed Wood.
Damn.
Um, yeah, I know. So I haven't seen Beetlejuice. Edward Scissorhands, I'm going to talk about. Nightmare Before Christmas. I like that movie, but that's not directed by him.
No,
That's
no.
Peter Sellers. Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow. I remember liking. I haven't seen
Mhm.
it in 15 years, probably. Like yeah. Um, Corpse Bride. Thought it was okay. Sweeney Todd, I actually really like. Dark Shadows is garbage. Batman, obviously, really like. Batman Returns is fine. It's a
Yeah.
fine movie. Planet of the Apes is garbage, and Big Fish I didn't love. Charlie and
Yeah.
the Chocolate Factory remake is garbage. Alice in the Wonderland is garbage. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's been on a hasn't been on a real hot streak
right. And he
these
made the
last couple of
Dumbo
years.
movie. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, he's a bit of a hit and miss for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like this movie, like I want to hear you talk about this movie because I'm hoping that you'll like me. You'll make me like more or help me like more. Have you seen Mars Attacks? I haven't seen Mars Attacks. I always heard good things about Mars Attacks.
Yeah, law. I mean, I was like single digit age, maybe
Oh,
10 when I saw it. So it's like it's been a fucking while. I know it's got a
yeah,
lot of people in it.
yeah. I really like Alan Arkin in this movie. Like,
Oh, dude.
I thought it
Alan
was
Arkin's the
awesome.
best part of this fucking movie.
Yes, thank you. Also, Diane Waste is
Oh, yes.
I guess we can call her a friend of the show, like Richard Jenkins at this point, because like we've talked about her
Yeah.
so many times.
Dude,
Um, d-
Footloose and like,
yeah,
oh my god. I mean, her
Carrie, right?
repertoire is uh wait, do what?
Is she in Carrie?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh,
No, she plays Carrie. No, no, but her repertoire is just so insane. Of like, you got like the Birdcage, the Mule, Edward Scissorhands, like Lost Boys.
The
Like
Lost
she's
Boys.
in
That's the other
so much
time.
shit.
Yeah,
She's
that's the
just
other one I want to
God.
talk about.
She's all over them. Like if I could have any male actor's career, it'd be Justin Long, just because he is so popular, but I can also walk down the street and not be bothered. But
Mm,
Diane Weiss is gonna get fucking bothered. But I would want her career. It's like
right.
it's so good, man. She's such a good actor.
Yeah. Diane.
Diane.
Jesus Christ. Diane yeast infection in this is I
I'm
think she's
dying.
help me,
Uh,
Ryan. I think she's good in this. But man, like every time she Steph and I Steph and I just like throughout the movie, we're just making running jokes of like she's too nice that she must love some rough anal or something, man. Like she's
Oh
just
no,
like
yeah.
she's absolutely getting plowed in the
When she
bedroom.
dies, someone's going to be like, I always wondered about Diane's collection of little shoes. You
Right.
know, like she's a
Right.
fucking serial killer or something.
Yeah.
Um,
But like I mean ultimately, it's Frankenstein, right? I mean that's what we're going for here.
yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frankenstein. You know,
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera, big
Right.
time. I think. Uh,
I
at first, I was
just
like
yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. And I was like, this actually, I think Beauty and the Beast was like a year later. Pretty sure.
Mm, mm.
I might be wrong on that one.
I think it's but like ultimately, it kind of ends with like, okay, so like he accidentally kills the guy. He ends up being well, she saves his reputation somewhat sort
Hmm.
of thing. And what he just ends up creating snow for the town for the rest of his life. I don't like
Yeah, it's like July and it's still snowing. You're
right,
like, all right,
yeah.
Edward, that's enough.
Okay, all right, mate. But like then like you have like dude belly laugh moment like when the gossip girdies they just like they take Winona's story and they just leave Anthony Michael Hall just like dead on the
Yeah, they
ground. And I'm
just
just like
then leave him laying there.
to no one like, but like also don't forget like the only way that this movie can work is through the lens of the fairy tale story bedtime thing.
Oh yeah,
You know what I
of
mean?
course.
Like you need to suspend your disbelief so much so that Diane West's character, Diane West, like that she can, literally kind of kidnap this man and bring him to the town, and no one's really going to have an extreme reaction to his scissor hands at all. Like, no one's just going to be like,
Right.
oh, and then the
It's like,
police like mistaken him, but it's like, how do the police not know that this man's here? You know what I mean? Like already,
mhm.
like I don't know.
It's like Teen Wolf. It's like, no, really, no one cares about the fact that there's like a mythological creature playing a high school sport right now. Like that's
Right,
fucking crazy. You know,
right.
that's nuts.
So ultimately, look, I think this movie's fine. I don't. I think it gets a lot more praise than it maybe deserves, but it's a fun watch. It's a breezy watch.
Yeah. I think I think you have some fine points. I think one thing that happened like cuz I watched this I'm like, man, I don't have any like crazy like emotional takeaway from this. Like I do love Edward as like a character and I do feel like empathy for him. But yeah, like and I get being the guy who's like fawning over some chick that won't even ever look at you. You know, totally understand that. But like what you said, I was like, yeah, there's not really a whole lot. They set up maybe one scene where they're interviewing him. They're like, "Is there a special girl in your life, Edward?" And she kind of like fumbles around and looks at the floor. And so I was like, okay, I like that, but you need more. You need something where she is kind of
Right.
like you could maybe even point to him going, "Oh, look, hey, there's your boyfriend." She's like, "Oh, fuck off!" Like, cut it out. Like, blah blah blah. I don't think she says "fuck off." But you can even point to stuff like that. But it's like it's just not strong enough. You know, it's not strong enough of a thing. I mean, hell, I don't even think she shows up until like the 20-minute mark in this movie. You know,
Right.
it
Yeah.
takes a hot minute.
It
Um,
does.
but I like that. I like the fact that they solved the kind of meet cute thing issue almost in like a romantic comedy kind of sense, but it also is like a really really good laugh at the same time. Uh, I grew up with this movie, so of course I love it. I've just it doesn't really um I guess we like you said you have to look at it through that scope of like a fairy tale because there's not really the only thing I really took away from this story, which is this kind of like that your imperfections basically make you what you are kind of thing. Each one of us has something that makes us a little bit of an individual, blah, 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 yada, yada.
Can I just
But
pause you just right there? Because I was really curious to see at what time frame one and enters the movie. 40 minutes.
14 minutes,
No,
damn, that's
40,
great.
40.
40 minutes in
40 minutes in.
is when Winona Ryder shows up.
Shows up and scares him in the waterbed. Yeah.
Holy hell, that is crazy. I
Insane.
thought maybe 20, but I keep forgetting this movie's an hour 45. I keep thinking it's an hour 30.
Yeah. No. 40
That's
minutes.
nuts. I was like
Yeah.
14. Oh, okay. I was a little bit off.
No.
Like Jesus. Um, but yeah, I think this movie, yeah, like you said, only works in that one kind of lane. But I think that the ultimately the things about it, that it's the themes that it's trying to state to me are now maybe that they don't mean now what they meant then. This movie came out in 1990, and I think that you're coming off the end of the 80s, and everybody's a fucking clone of each other, and I can see this movie kind of being like, no, you need to have some individuality about yourself and not just be a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And it's like, and but I think that sentiment has been beat into the fucking ground by every movies. I mean, everybody is into, okay, fine, fantastic, but I think this movie is kind of, also autobiographical for Tim Burton. He drew this little Edward Scissorhands character in high school, and apparently was extremely creative, but had problems expressing himself. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can see that. It helps me enjoy the movie a little bit more. But in terms of like, I don't walk away from this going like their love was a love that dared to, and I was like, no, it's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of infatuation. And what is he down there for? 3 weeks, but all in all, I think that visually it can't be fucked with. Soundtrack, it can't be fucked with. Performance wise, it can't be fucked with. Like, it's just all across the board. I don't walk away being like, man, I really took away something from that movie. It's just a wonderful, like, beautifully crafted fairy tale, and this is something that I would have no problem showing this to a kid. Like, I grew up watching this all the time. It's not too violent, but it is kind of scary at times. It gets a little spooky, and just Tim Burton has that, it just inherently creepy kind of thing that I think that as a kid we all kind of got behind, me and my family, and my brothers and sisters and stuff. And I think that everything works incredibly well, to a point where it's like, to me, it's not really like a popcorn movie, but this would be like my kind of version of a popcorn movie. Like, I turn my brain off of like, yeah, it's like Tom Cruise was up for Edward Scissorhands, and he was like, I just don't get it. How does he go to the bathroom? And they were like, this isn't going to work. And that's kind of like the part of my brain I have to turn off, because a lot of
Right.
it is nostalgia for me, for sure, nostalgia. But at the same time, like, even now I watch it and I'm still like, man, that that fucking soundtrack is killer, man. I feel like I'm playing Fable all over again,
So Elfman.
um but and it's a story as old as time. Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frankenstein. Obviously there's always going to be like characters and stories like that, and I just love it. I just everything about it is just it's so creative to me. And this is before Tim Burton was kind of a cliche of Tim Burton. This was, not I wouldn't say I think this is Tim Burton's best movie, but I think this is probably my favorite. Like, I really like Big Fish a lot. I really like Batman Returns. I'm a big fan of Batman Returns. And I think that this is just when he was crushing cinema fucking ass. Like, he was Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands,
Your
like, he was coming in and just hitting home runs, man.
your Batman Returns over Batman?
I think so, honestly, because
Interesting.
that's the one I watched more growing up.
Okay.
That's the one we had on VHS. Um, and honestly, around here, this movie where I live, I don't know how it is regionally for you. This movie's fucking huge. Like, everyone I know has seen this movie, and I think that also speaks to its uniqueness at Edward Scissorhands. And she was like, well, it's a man who had scissors for hands. She's like, oh, his hands were made of scissors? She goes, no, scissor hands. And it's like, what? And it sounds like you're just saying the same thing in a different order, but once you think about it, it's like, no, scissor hands, like fingers or blades. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. But I can't really think of another movie that's just like Edward Scissorhands, and it was a fucking absolute knockout like success. That's such a strange name and premise,
Yeah.
and like, everything about it on paper sounds like it would just be weird as hell. But in a lesser director, I feel like this just doesn't work really. I think Tim Burton, given what is on the page, it's like a lot of this movie is visual. It's got to be, because what's on the page is probably not anything crazy.
There's two other names here that I'd like to bring up. One obviously being the great Stan Winston, who did the
Hmm.
the practical stuff. I mean, like obviously the scissor hands, but then like also during the flashbacks, what we see in the inventor's factory. By the way, the inventor, played by Vincent Price,
Oh,
in his
fuck yes.
last theatrical performance before he passed away in '93, which
I
is
know.
wild. The Invisible Man himself. But like also, the other name is a bit more obscure. Bo Welch.
Oh,
Um,
fuck yeah. I know Bo Welch. Yeah,
yeah,
the production.
production designer. Yeah,
Yes, he's married to Catherine O'Hara.
dude. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know
because
that.
I think they met on Beetlejuice or something.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. As
Mhm.
the credits were playing, I'm like, this reminds me of the opening of Men in Black. You know, with the
Oh yeah, he's all over that fucking
dude.
movie.
I'm just like, and then it comes up and it's like Bo Welch. I was like, of
Mm.
course. Yeah,
He is one of those names where eventually I just started paying attention and realized Bo Welch, that name was in a lot of movies that I liked. And I was
yeah.
like, I'm just going to look at it. It's a very distinctive name as well. Bo
Mm,
Welch is not something you hear a lot. So it sticks out. And I ended up Googling him and just fell down this rabbit hole of like, Catherine O'Hara? Wow, it's great.
yeah.
And I also want to talk about the woman that helped write this, Caroline Thompson. She said she met Tim Burton. Tim Burton was like, I have an idea for a guy who has scissor hands, and she was like, stop drilling, you've hit oil. I am gonna go home and write this, and she had like 70 or 80 pages ready in a few weeks. She said it was just one of those times it just hit, and I just kept rolling and rolling. So the story is by her. It's not totally written and directed by Tim Burton, but it really shows again just this incredible visual style that he has that just and I love everything almost looks like the Adam West Batman, you know, him growing up in Burbank in like the 60s and stuff. You can definitely see the colors in this, how much of a impact they had on this movie. um but with that out of the way, I mean, I think we both enjoy it pretty well. You know, I can definitely see some people saying maybe it's a little bit overhyped, but I think that in defense of that, I would say it's just because a lot of these themes now were just, I don't know, maybe not as prevalent as they were. You know, like the cynicism of the 90s, I guess, hadn't really all like sunk in yet. So especially in the late 90s and the early 2000s, it's like everything was like, just be yourself, you know, and it's like, just blah blah blah. Yeah, it's okay, great, fantastic. Now it's just been uh drilled into your head. But one of my favorite quotes is, cliches are cliches for a reason. I like that. You know, I like that very much. It's like, even though this is a cliche, that doesn't make it any less true. And I was like, yeah, I guess, you know, just be yourself and lean into the things that make you weird, because ultimately, you know, that's just you know, staying true to yourself and finding your people, I guess. But which Edward never does. And a movie. Wrap it up, guys. Let's wrap up this fairy tale
Dun,
fucking
dun, dun, dun,
tragedy.
dun, 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 dun.
But we start when on a yet to be known old Winona Ryder telling, I guess, her granddaughter a fairy tale. She talks about, she wants to know, why does it snow? You know, basically setting up her story and shit. Uh, you know, she says that there was a man, Scissorhands, who lived at the top, you know, the mountain, blah blah blah. He's built by a man. You know, and basically the man died before he could finish him, which was interesting. I like that. I forget that they kind of do that at the beginning, and but they show flashbacks of how it happened, and I was like, oh, I always thought it was a revelation that the guy just died. And watching it this time, I was like, oh no, she's fucking straight up says it at the beginning. I'm pretty sure, like, oh yeah, he
Mm.
died and he wasn't able to finish him. I was like, oh well, okay, cool. um I think one thing I can't get over is the miniature work as they're floating over the town
Yeah,
and
I
going.
like
It's
that.
like, oh, it gives me such a boner. I love good miniature work, man.
Um,
um
the makeup in this movie is horrible. It's horrible. It's so bad. I can't.
oh yeah, on Johnny Depp.
On Winona, but then on Johnny Depp too, when he shows up and you get really close ups of his scars, and like they're very very clear, just like glued on, and it's
Oh yeah.
like so Steph says that, and then I turned to Steph and I was just like, yeah, I get it, because in 1990 they had no idea that HD TV was going to be a thing, you
Right,
know. So
exactly. Exactly. There's so much stuff now that it's like, oh yeah, you just turn that contrast up and there it is, you know. And it's like
yeah,
glaring at you. Um we see Edward overlooking the town. We've got Oh god, it's Peg Boggs. What a terrible name.
Jesus.
Local Avon salesman going around door to door, played by the always immaculate and wonderful Diane Wiest. One of my favorite actors. I really do love Diane Wiest.
Look at her. She can
We see
barely
her.
walk up to that door because she's had Alan Arkin's rod stuck up her ass.
She's probably she's like got a Richard Gere like gerbil like I mean like or she walks around. No, it would be something like so much more religious and pious and scary. Like she'd have tacks in her heels, and every time she walks, she'd step on a tack. Like
Oh,
just something
God.
crazy and painful. Like it wouldn't be pleasurable. It has to be painful. You know,
Right.
it's gotta be awful. She pulls up in Uncle Ben's car from Evil Dead, I guess. I don't know
Mm.
what the fuck she's driving. That looks straight up like Ash Campbell's
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
Notorious.
I was like, what does this guy remind me of? And yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, I like that.
You just
So
see
she's
somebody get dragged through the woods next to her as she's driving up the fucking driveway.
fucking deadites are just after her. Hey, there's a lot of trespassing in this movie. Just on private
I
property.
know.
Also some sexual assault, which just whatever. It's the '90s.
You said some what?
Some sexual assault.
Really?
You don't think so? Whoa, hey, we're about
No,
to
no. I'm trying to.
we're about to open up a can of worms.
Oh no, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, the crazy cougar lady. Okay, yeah.
Colin
Sorry,
doesn't know what consent is. You
Yeah,
heard it here first.
I forgot. For I was like, wait, does Edward get touched? I was like, oh. At first, I'm like, who? Wait, who does Edward molest in this? It's like, oh, well, wait, okay, no, I'm putting the shoe on the wrong foot. But she ends up going door to door. Obviously, she's not very successful sales lady. This woman that answers the door from Two and a Half Men. We talked about her
But
the day I think she passed away, or the day after. I can't remember
yeah,
her name.
Berta. Oh
Uh,
well, in the show she's Berta.
Berta. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and she's always fun. Very notorious voice. You can
Right.
always tell
Yeah.
who she is right
Mr.
away.
Deeds.
Mr. Deeds. That's
Yeah.
right. That's what I was fucking thinking of. And as she stumbles around this place, trespassing, being a vagabond, a peasant, piece of shit, she ends up stumbling across Edward.
At least she's
Um,
not a Mormon.
yeah, at least she's not like selling something. You know how many
Yeah.
times I have people that come and knock on my door selling shit? Like I had somebody show up a week ago, 8 o'clock at night, knocking on the door. And I was just like, dude, it is 8 on like a Thursday. It's not
What?
like a Friday or a Saturday. And I was like, yeah, it was just so unbelievable. I was like, holy shit, the cops are here or something. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, now somebody's selling like, termite shit. I was like, okay, dude, get the hell out of here.
Dude, I mean, living on the third floor of an apartment building, that's one of the liberties, man.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
got to
good.
be nice.
Yeah.
I lived on the third floor of an apartment for a while, and I felt so bad. We had this guy walk by every 6 months. He's just a religious guy, and knock on the door and be like, "Hey, I just didn't know if you had a minute to talk about, Jesus." Or I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good, man."
The word of the
I was like,
Lord.
"I'm
Yeah.
good." Yeah, and I was like, yeah, "Sorry, there's no elevator here."
Oh,
Um,
I can't wait till we get to the Jesus freak in this movie. I can't wait.
no, that's Carrie's mom. That's why you're thinking of Carrie.
Oh yeah.
But she stumbles across Edward. He looks like straight out of a Hellraiser movie, to be completely honest. And he
Right.
did perfect. Fit right in with Pinhead.
Yeah,
Um,
I totally agree, man. Like again, it's just one of those things because I'd seen screenshots of the movie before watching the movie for the first time when I was in the seventh grade, and just everything about it led me to believe it was a horror movie. Like because look at him, like you know what I mean. It just looks, and I guess I kind of like did in real life what a lot of the characters in this movie do is just like
mhm.
like being a little apprehensive but then realizing, oh shit, maybe actually this movie is a little bit more sweeter than first looks. But yeah. um
No, I mean, I get it though. I mean, because yeah, again, no social cues, and this guy is like Freddy Krueger fucked Wolverine. He just comes like running out of the
right.
shadows at people. I'm like, dude, brother, you got to watch out there.
Yeah, you gotta chill out. There is a shot of her, by the way, when she gets upstairs and she's looking at that big like hole in the sort of ceiling.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is about that shot, but that looks awesome, man. Like there's a way they pulled off that shot, and I can't tell what it is. It's like at the 12:53 mark when she's walking across the wooden sort of like platform, and she's looking up at the ceiling. Looks awesome.
Yeah, there's some really like striking visuals in this because it's I get it captures just this amazing and she looks almost like a doll. She looks almost like a toy walking through this thing. And
Mhm.
it's like, holy hell, that looks incredible. Um she decides she needs to take Edward home with her. At home with her. She's she's just worried about him. Got good intentions, you know.
Stop right there. She decides to take this man home with him, like with scissors for hands. I just okay, Tim. All right, Tim.
I
Okay, Tim.
love this is just some like all elaborate plot to have Alan Arkin murdered. And she's like, now when you meet him, the way we say hello is we hit each other in the stomach as hard as we can. And he just stabs him in the fucking
she
guts. She's like, yes.
she approaches Edward like for the first time, and she's like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to hire that hitman anymore."
Yeah. Thank God I don't have to use arsenic. They can trace that shit.
Right.
Um and yeah, I kind of like what she represents as kind of like the I don't know. Like she's not like a meddling biddy like the rest of these women. She's not a chatty Cathy. But the thing is, it's like think of her outside the context of this story. Do you think she's swapping rumors with these people? Do you think she's rubbing elbows? Probably. Why would she live there? Why would she be such good friends with these people? Like I feel like she's probably a bit of a chatty Cathy as well. Like yeah, how they all get together and call. So it's like I wonder if she's just good intentions, but at the same time, I think she's a good character, but she's well meaning but doesn't understand the repercussions of the atom bomb of dropping somebody like this off in suburbia. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like yeah, oh yeah, I'll just pull you out of that awful place and bring you into civilization. It's like, yeah, but that was where I lived. Like I liked living there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
it's like
do.
it's like isolated tribes trying to drag them into civilization. You know what I mean? Like
I,
it's just weird to
I
me.
do know what you mean. I think she is well intentioned. I think she's naive.
Hmm.
Like there's definitely that naivety of like, oh, look at this
But
place.
it's
It's
sweet, you know.
yeah, it's cold and dark, and I'm gonna bring you somewhere warm and light and colorful, and
Right,
you
right.
know,
But the other place is just as beautiful. That house is gorgeous, you
right,
know?
right, absolutely, it is. But yeah, like I don't think she strikes me as more of an outcast in this movie than everyone
Mm,
else. Like maybe just because she's not. I mean, like for example, right when Edward later is giving them a haircut, right, and it's all extreme haircut styles, and he gives her a nice, something a little bit more subtle. It just strikes
mm,
me as like she's not as extreme as these other women, and like she doesn't really fit in with these other people, with this other crowd. You know, so much so to like to the point where when she is spotted with Edward, and everyone's like kind of like gossiping and stuff, and they're just like, "Oh, who's that man driving around in the car? Whatever." Um, they're all interested because that's not who she is. I guess she's just more of like a busybody housewife slash Avon salesperson. She doesn't really mingle. That's kind of like
mm.
what I gather.
Interesting. I just yeah, I wonder how she plays into the context of like maybe she's just polite to all these people. They're not really good friends. Like I wonder that because I'm like, man, I've always just put her as this really nice character, and they're like, oh no, she's kind of a saint. It's like, well, is she kind of a bitch outside the story? Of this is like the rest of these people, is she kind of obviously she lives next door to these people, but it's like what makes her any better or any worse than them? Yeah, but I was just kind of curious, but um she ends up bringing Edward home. Whole town, like you said, flip shit. They are all calling her. They
Right.
all start calling each other and laying eggs and shit. Um, I love this introduction of Edward. I love the car he gets out of. That looks straight up like a Joker mobile from like the '89 Batman. Yeah, that green. Or no, I think it's her car, but it looks. Never mind. I thought it was green. It looks totally different in the shot. But the a lot of the women that play her neighbors, I've seen in a bunch of other stuff.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously the woman from Two and a Half Men, the skinnier one with the brown hair and like the thin nose, like she's Missy Dandridge in Pet Cemetery. Like she's in a lot of shit. She's in like a few X Files episodes. Um, and I like this reaction from from basically the townsfolk. They're not quite pitchforks and torches yet, but they're definitely filling up their their gas cans. He sees a picture of Kim, with her boyfriend. Obviously, we get the first image of them, and there is something like, I don't really pay attention to celebrity shit. It doesn't really interest me at all. Very rarely does it, but there is something about Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder. I'm like, man, I wish that would have worked. Y'all are both
Right.
really good actors. Like, I really like both you
I
guys.
thought the same, man. Like I was just like, if only they'd stayed together, then Johnny would have, kind of like
Right,
avoided
and just
this trauma. Yeah.
right, and it's kind of Ben and J Lo don't give a fuck. Brad and Angelina, fuck you, don't care. And it's like, but I don't know. There's something about both of them that, like, their careers. I don't think she ever really had anything that was quite like as crazy in depth character work as he did. But she had movies that rivaled a lot of his movies. Maybe not Pirates of the Caribbean shit, but now she's in Stranger Things. She's back. She's like slaying bitches. But I think she's
She was
got
in Star
movies that
Trek for a
definitely.
little bit. The reboot.
Yeah, but even like, shit like Heather's
Mm.
and like Girl Interrupted. Like, she's in a lot of these really really good movies. Um, but
The
the
oh, I was just gonna say, oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it.
oh, Jesus
Fucking hell.
Christ!
It's alright. We'll
So we're
come back
talking
to it.
about Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll come back to it.
yeah. Um, we see Edward trying to try on a pair of clothes. I like a lot of this movie. That's just kind of
The fish
his
out of water
interaction
stuff.
with the yes.
Yeah.
I like it because it's I've seen it 1,000 times, but I still die every time when he's trying to put those pants on and he's like, and like sliding. I still fucking think that's so funny.
Yeah, I
um
like that they don't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like they could
yes.
easily overdo it. But yeah, I love any time like an outside element is brought into an environment that they don't really know. I mean, like one of my favorite moments is in the first Thor movie when he just walks into the pet store and he's like, "I need a horse." Like it's just good stuff. Um. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. Why does this Why does this town look like a nuclear testing site?
Right, it's like a cod map.
Right. It looks like
There's something
Nuketown.
about it.
It looks like
Right, right,
Nuketown.
right. I think that, from what I read about Tim Burton, of like where he grew up, I guess in Burbank and like those 60s. Like, I guess that was kind of like the post, I think he's born in like 1950 something. So growing up in the 60s and seeing a lot of that style kind of continue over, like I said, it feels like an Adam West Batman episode.
Right.
Everything's kind of got this bright, crazy kind of colors, and I want to say I read that was inspired by like Russian, like if Russia had an American town, like this is what it would
That
kind of
makes
look like.
sense.
Like all the
Yeah.
off kind of colors and stuff. It didn't
It
look quite
it
right.
reminds me of well, the trailer for this just came out. So Olivia Wilde is directing another movie called Don't Worry Darling. If you watch the trailer for that, like it's set in like the 50s or 60s and this town literally is that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I saw the trailer for that. That looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Um, we see her get Edward dressed up. We get the iconic gray pants and white shirt, which I've seen so many fucking guys at Halloween dressed up like that. Really good costumes too. Um, we're introduced to Kevin, the little brother. He says one karate chop to a guy's head would take it off. He's just totally enamored.
Dude, every time Diane Weiss says the word Kevin, I just don't you think of Catherine O'Hara? Like
Yes,
from
kind of. Kevin.
yeah, Kevin.
Um, yeah, and we see Alan Arkin for the first time too, which is great. I
He's
love
so good.
this.
He's so good.
Oh my god, he's like, so Edward, it must be he's like, must be some kind of quite a change for you, right, Ed? She's like, Edward, oh yeah, and then he just keeps calling him Ed, like he just totally fucking ignores her. It just cracks me up. I don't know why. Like, he just plows straight through the fact that she's like, it's Edward, dear. He's like, oh yeah, huh? Like, he
Dude.
just doesn't fucking care.
He strikes me. Yeah, literally, that's it. He just strikes me as someone who does not give a fuck. Like his wife has just brought home a stray thing,
Right.
and he's just like, "Oh god, this is the fourth one for the week. God damn it!" So see how long this one lasts, dude. When he's up on the roof later, and this is when Edward gets bullied off, like he's just kind of like running away. Alan
Mhm.
Arkin is just so chill about it. He's just like, "Where you going, Ed?"
Yes, that is so good, dude. He is like it's I don't know. There's something about his character. The second Edward has that pee, and he's trying to bring the pee up, and it cuts to Alan Arkin, and he's watching him, and he's like, and then he drops it, and he goes, kind of like, damn. But he has some of my absolute favorite moments in this. He's just utterly brilliant, and I think anything Alan Arkin touches is just, oh my god, I can't believe this. It's like, he's just so fucking funny, man.
He's so
Little
good
Miss
in
Sunshine, come on,
he's so
so
good in
good.
Argo, the Ben Affleck movie. It's really good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Kevin asked if he can take him to show and tell. Mom tells him to fuck off. Edward goes to sleep in the house for the first time on a fucking waterbed. I
Dude.
still remember that, just him jiggling like up and down in the middle of the darkness. It's creepy, dude.
What do you think about Depp's like kind of like aloof performance? Like, you know what I mean? Like, of just like, what the fuck? Like, where am I? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't mind it. I like it because you can tell he's not a total moron.
hmm,
And there's something I'd rather have somebody. I don't know. Sometimes I'd rather have somebody that was kind of slower and nicer than somebody who was smarter and an asshole.
mm-hmm.
Like it sometimes. Sometimes. But I think that there's something very endearing about him, and just how soft spoken he is and how little he speaks. He could tell he's really listening and taking everything in.
Well,
You know, and
oh no, go on.
no, I say he appears aloof, but I really think, I mean, he's really listening to everything that you're saying and really taking stuff in.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. Well, it kind of made me realize of like, because at, at this point in the movie, I was desperately searching for what is this movie about? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so I'm just like, is this about how we treat, I guess, disabled people, or even, people on the spectrum? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
is this what this is about? And I think, I don't think that's what it's, quote, about, but I think that's definitely a part of it. Like, I think there's definitely a lot of, don't underestimate people who might be on the spectrum, or um or might be a bit handicapped, because they'll come through. They've got a good heart.
Right. Exactly. Don't count him out because of something. He ends up using his like air quote disability, to a lot of creative like output, to his advantage. Um, And we see that right here. We see, after this dinner scene, he ends up chopping up the hedges. Now this infamous, scene of him chopping this thing up. Um, Ends up making a dinosaur, makes the whole family. Oh no, son, that's a terrible idea. Go get the oil can. I love that how he's sitting there like, at first I thought he was listening to a bowling rate like tape, like the dude from the Big Lebowski. I was like, this is the dude from the Big Lebowski, just right before he fucking snapped. But he's outside watching bowling on television, just sitting there drinking a beer. And Diane Weiss walks up. She goes, "Oh my God, that's us." And he goes, "Yep." And just unfazed. He is on so much fucking Prozac that he just stares he just doesn't give a fuck. But like, I love that the moments that it's important for him to chime in, he chimes in, like when this wacko religious, nut shows up. And she ends up calling him the devil. She
Oh
says that
my
they're sheep.
god.
We're not sheep. That's one of my favorite lines from this whole movie. We're not sheep. He's just like walking towards her in the yard. We're not sheep.
Fuck,
And
man.
Alan Arkin tells her to fuck off.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
I
Fuck
love.
off.
Yeah.
Like, you're on my property. You come on here. You come onto my property. You pass the fence line, spouting your religious bullshit. Like, get out, leave.
I would love the second she stepped into their yard, her foot just like caught on fire. She's like, "Oh my God."
I just want
Wait,
Edward to like pull off one of his blades and just stick it into a fucking
just
medulla.
shove it and just put it right in her abdomen.
Yeah.
Um, Apparently that's her really playing the organ. Like when they show her, that's her actually really playing it. Like she came up with that shit.
Yeah,
I was
she
like, "Oh,
gets
that's
she gets no
interesting."
respect from me, even though she's an actress, and she's probably
Yeah,
not like that. She gets no respect from me.
she probably not like that. Yeah, you're a fucking piece of shit. Um,
She's like, I'm just trying to work, man.
yeah, right. Yeah, I'm trying to pay the bills, dude. Um, we see, after she leaves, we get the party planning committee comes by and visits the Boggs. They say, when is the barbecue? And just imposing all the shit on them. And
Dude.
it's really bizarre. It's really crazy, you know.
I do love that
Um,
shot of they're kind of like in the doorway, and then like you got Diane Weiss looking back, but there's that one gap where the religious nut just fills it
yes,
in, and it's just like that's cool. I like that. That's cool,
I
like
like it a
framing.
lot.
That's cool blocking. I like it a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. I dig this, and finding little uses for Edward's, you know, like his abilities. Like she's like, yeah, we gotta chop this up for coleslaw, and he chops an entire head of lettuce. It's like, holy shit. Um, and we get a flashback scene, you know, right before she says, you have to just be your plain old self, and then we get the flashback scene of the inventor, played by the late great Vincent Price, as you brought up, like you said, his final role. What's funny is watching this as a kid and going, oh, that is a completely efficient way to make cookies. All of that makes
dude.
sense to me as a kid. I was like, absolutely makes the most sense in the world.
I think
I was so
I
convinced.
think I remember thinking the same thing, but like scrutinizing it for this watch though, because there's a
This is
machine
an
on the
OSHA hazard.
there is a machine on the conveyor belt that just has this like walking thing that does nothing.
Yes, it's just two legs.
It
It's
doesn't
just
do
two
anything.
legs walking.
Like
Right, right.
the dough just goes right through and it doesn't do anything. And then when you get
I
to the
know.
cookie cutters, the three cookie cutters, you're not applying enough pressure to actually cut through the dough. What kind of chicanery is this?
I would love if this were like Willy Wonka's like autistic stepbrother, and he's like, we gave him a failing cookie factory in the Northeast, and he just pumps out. We give him a bunch of old dough, and we take expired dough and give it to him.
This comes back in.
Um,
Can you imagine if this comes back in fucking Tim Burton's remake of Willy Wonka, and it's just like it's just all this shit. But then like it's also like, man, like so they crack this egg and like they whisk the egg, but he barely whisks it, so you know that there's a full yolk in one of these fucking in one of these
yeah.
cookies, dude.
Oh, those are the best though. They're all gooey. No, I'm just bite it and like the yolk bursts. You're like,
Somewhere Rocky just busts in. Is like, oh, I'll eat that.
yeah, give me that egg. He just starts eating Vincent Price. You're like, oh no. There is a comedian that I absolutely adore. His name's Dana Gould.
Oh yeah,
And he's a big Vincent Price fan. And he was like, what I love is that Vincent Price at one point was single. And he was looking for chicks. And I just picture him at the bar going, the one in the blue dress really digs me. and his Vincent Price impression is unbelievably good. Dana Gould's is perfect. It is really, really fucking funny. But check that out, because I have to shout. Anytime I think of Vincent Price, I pretty much think of Dana Gould now. It's unbelievably funny. But we see the most inefficient way to make cookies ever. Sad Vincent Price was really they filmed as little as they could because he was just so sick with emphysema and I think Parkinson's disease, that they filmed everything that they could as fast as they could. And he's just, God, dude, the career he's had. Edward Scissorhands, Thriller, like you're on the biggest selling album of all
mm-hmm.
time. Like, holy shit, man. Like, I really envy his career and the choices of stuff that he was able to do. And I know that probably sucked getting typecast like that for a while. But now it's like, dude, you're like the Marlon Brando of horror shit.
Oh yeah,
You're Vincent Price,
yeah.
dude. Like, you're like the only other motherfucker close to you is like Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. You know, it's like you're like the Rushmore of like old school horror shit. And we see him with the cookie heart, the heart of the cookies. He wants to build a man. He gets the first kind of idea of how to do it.
A little bit Wizard of Oz situation going on there.
Yeah. But that does feel very Wizard of Oz. That whole thing feels very Wizard of Oz. That whole
the black and white
OSHA violation they have going on in there. We get the welcome to the neighborhood party for Ed or Edward, as apparently he prefers to be called.
This guy that walks in, he's just too boisterous, man. Hey Mike, how you doing? Hey kids. Like there are at least 2 diddlers in this movie, and this is one of them. This is the first one.
Yes. I think now he is married to the one who tries to jump all over Edward, right? I'm
Yes.
pretty sure he's because he walks in with her.
Oh, okay. Yes, that makes perfect sense. That she's insane. Yep, that makes perfect
Right.
sense. That absolutely
Right.
tracks for me. Yep.
They're just like a couple of like serial like molesters and killers that were
Right,
just
right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
if we fake being a couple, yeah, oh my god, I just gave somebody a terrible idea. Anyways, all right, here we go.
Well, I
Let's
just
keep going
picture
with this.
them as like those aliens from Men in Black who just drive humans. Like,
Yeah, there
yeah,
you go.
that's what they are.
Yeah, but inside they're just like pieces of shit with legs. Um, it can't be anything as cool as an alien. Um, but we see everybody kind of saying hello to Edward. I love the guy who comes up and is like, "Don't anyone ever tell you that you're blah blah blah. I have an infirmary myself.
That
I
was
took some
nice.
shrapnel." And then at the no, it's not fucking nice because at the end of the movie, he's the one who goes, "Did they catch him yet? You know that cripple?" And I was like, "You fucking piece of shit!
Oh, that's
You
that
just
guy, the
you
next door neighbor,
just
right?
said something. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just said something to him. You piece of fuck."
Yeah.
And we see all the guys, try, they try, I guess, with Edward. They make these jokes about cutting cards and stuff, and it just kind of goes right over his head. Apparently got really sick from eating all of this stuff. Like
Well,
really, like I guess he wasn't throwing it in a trash bag or something. I don't know. He just got really sick from eating all this.
oh, in real life?
Yeah. Johnny Depp was like, yeah, he was like, it was something. I don't know if it's fruit salad or something. He was like, yeah, that really got me. It's like that really got
Oh,
me going.
because I was about to make a joke about like, yeah, all of these people at this party got sick from eating the shish kebab because there's fucking oil grease all over his
Yeah,
fucking scissor hands.
he's
So,
like wiping his ass with that and shit, and they're like, all right,
like, what?
wait, have you been washing him? No, we just put oil on it.
Yeah, we just fucking benzene coming out of it. Oh Jesus!
um, but we see him at least trying to integrate. He doesn't understand soup's on. That's a great joke. I love that. I've always loved that joke. Um, Lying in bed, we see a little bit more of his life with the inventor. I love the blueprint that goes by as he basically goes. It's just like a little, if you really want to know more, pause the movie and read all that weird shit, but most people don't care. But we see him teaching a medikit, which is really interesting, which I don't think a lot of people do anymore. But he gets bored reading that, decides to read him some poetry. And again, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just boom. Now we're back to present day, and we're seeing Kim come back with Anthony Michael fucking Hall,
Yeah,
playing a totally different character. Man,
yeah.
I was blown away. I was like, the kid who tries to like kill himself in the Breakfast Club, like the nerdy kid. I was like, that's nuts, dude. This is not.
Yeah.
What was Breakfast Club? 84, maybe.
I'd say 84 from memory. It might be 82, but I'll look it up in a sec. But yeah, Mike
Yeah, I
Engel
got you.
from Gotham News from The Dark Knight.
I know Dead Zone. He was Christopher Walken's character in the Dead Zone TV show.
Yeah,
He
Halloween Kills, right? Evil dies tonight, apparently. So
Oh shit, okay. It's just so crazy because it's like maybe he hit some kind of growth spurt or something, but he just I don't know, he just blew up. Like he looks huge in this. Like
oh
there's something about him as I was looking, I was like, holy hell.
yeah, this is the 40-minute
Yeah,
mark. By the way, this is when we're introduced to
that's nuts.
Winona Ryder's character. What's her name again?
Kim.
Kim. Yeah.
Breakfast Club 85.
Oh,
Also
okay.
Weird Science.
All right.
That's crazy, man. And then 5 years later, I mean, I guess like he said, he must have hit some kind of one hell of a growth spurt or something.
Let me tell you, man, Winona Ryder in this movie did things to me in year 7, in the 7th grade. Like
Right.
man, she is.
See, this is my problem now is that I've watched movies like this growing up and I've had a little boy boner forever. And now I'm 32 and I'm like 12 years older, 14 years older than this person is currently. But my brain is still like, yeah, but I mean, I've looked at you forever. Like you
Right.
were in all these movies since I was such a crush, and that it feels weird, but it's like, yeah, but I was also a kid, like it feels so strange.
Yeah, I mean,
but you
look,
can't ask for a better meet cute,
no, you can't. You absolutely can't. Too bad she probably robs him after in real life. Then you know.
That's true. I would love if he starts freaking out and just accidentally just starts slashing her. Like it's like totally brutal. The shot of him coming down the hallway is amazing.
Oh, I love
As
it.
she's screaming on the wall, and it's like, can you imagine her? And then like imagine seeing this guy in your bed, and you think your family
Dude.
has no idea there's some guy in your bed, and then they're like, "Oh, come here, dude."
Yeah.
I would be like, "What the fuck is going on?" Dude, I would be losing my mind, man.
So much, like, there is so much acceptance of Edward right away. Again, you need
I
to
know.
suspend your disbelief because it's a fairy tale, but like, there is so much acceptance of Edward that by the time she gets in here and she's screaming her head off, it's like, how do you not assume that your family's just been taken over by, like, just being brainwashed by something? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Oh,
she
and
freaks out. This is the one scene in the movie, by the way, that I really actually remember from the 7th grade. Like, I was like, I got to Steph, I'm like, I know something happens with this waterbed because, like, he doesn't just stab it once. Something happens to it. Like, I think he goes crazy on it or something, and he absolutely does because she freaks out and he just loses it. But like, I just love the shot of him like walking down the hallway. Oh, it's so good.
he's got like the puppy like hands up.
Yeah.
Alan Arkin takes him to the basement. He's like, she frazzled you, didn't she? He goes, man, I don't know what it is about these women. They grow up, they get these glands, their bodies swell, and they go crazy. And it's like, she found a stranger in her bed, and you're calling your own daughter Grit.
She found a stranger in her bed that her mother brought from a castle,
right,
without his consent,
with dagger hands,
right.
I think this is probably my favorite Alan Arkin moment. It just absolutely kills me is when he's like, what is this? He goes, it's lemonade, and he goes to take a swig and just and just stares at the steps and takes his drink. This is the most amazing part. You know, they have this little scene between Mom and Kim. She goes, just give him a shot. If you watch from the time they start coming down the stairs, Alan Arkin is like this.
Yes,
he's got his hand up over his face. The whole scene happens, and by the end of it, Alan Arkin is still
dude, it's like
in the same spot.
This is one of my belly laughs, dude. Like, it's just like his kind of like just before that, like you just said it, like when he's looking up like at the stairs and he's like trying to look out to see if she's looking or if she's around. Like,
I died.
The level of kind of like fear in his eyes of like shit. And he's like, nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, well, it sets up the lemonade joke amazingly. The next bit.
Yeah,
you want lemonade?
But this is also, I guess, to get serious for a second. This is the one of the moments that Steph and I kind of like looked at and we were like, oh yeah, maybe it is kind of like of how ignorant we are of disabled people because, you know, Alan Arkin's talking and he's just kind of like self-involved with what he's talking about, that like he's not really realizing that Edward can't pick up the glass, and he just kind of like half-heartedly sort of like offers him a straw, or you know what I mean, like I don't know, like there's just like little moments of like ignorance there of like how we kind of like go about our day without I guess considering disabled people, or you know how to make their lives feel better.
And the stuff you take for granted, you know. Right. I saw a great meme, and it was like, every time my nose is stuffed up, I feel like such an asshole for taking for granted the times my nose was not stopped up.
Dude, yes.
And it's like, dude, oh my god, when you're just like fucking clogged up, and you're like, dude, I would give anything to just feel that pressure, just like, you know. And imagine now, take that, and someone goes, you can't use your arms or legs. Yeah, that's such a different. It's such a crazy thing. But we get Edward is kind of starting to fit in a little bit. We see him go to Kevin's show and tell, which is really good. You know, he throws up all over. I think her name, I is it Joyce? I can't remember what the harlot's name is. We see him, you know, again going to Kevin's show and tell. Great dinner scene between the family. I love this, where he's like, now, Edward, I hear that you're not charging for your landscaping. He's like, Marge paid him in cookies. Honey, you can't pay the bills with cookies. The necessities of life cannot be paid with cookies, can they? And I love Anthony Michael Hall. No, sir, they cannot. Yeah, it just died. It's so good, man. Like he looks like if someone's like, "Oh, this is Channing Tatum's dad at like 1990." I'm like, okay,
Ah.
I see that. Like he looks like he takes HGH, like he looks like he's definitely like sprouting
I
up.
just after seeing the
Um,
Breakfast Club, I can't buy him as a kind of like a jock, a tough.
it's hard. It's hard to, I like him in this, but I do think he's not quite up to par with the people Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder, Alan Arkin, Diane Wiest, like Vincent Price. That's a big cast, and
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall, not a bad actor, but I think that he's maybe a little miscast for this, but I like him in it. He's not the greatest part, but
Yeah.
I find him at least believable,
Yeah. Yeah. Evil dies tonight.
Yeah. And he ends up dropping the meat in Winona's lap. That's great. Her friend won't eat it because she says it's unsanitary because he used his hands. And I'm like, she's got a point. We don't know where
Drop
this guy's
some-
hands have been. That's just kind of weird.
Drop some
We're eating
meat
off him.
and one on his lap for sure.
What would be hilarious if it's like you show up right when Will Byers goes missing, and someone's like, Joyce, we got to go find your son. She's like, yeah, I'm going to the mountains for a couple of weeks with my buddy Z over here.
Oh, it was him. He's black. I mean, it's the 80s.
He's gonna fucking blast my gate once we get there.
Can we look up? Can we go look for your son after we're done? Because got some plowing to do.
No, I can't possibly do it. But
Will Byers is lining up the wall nearby, and I'm just like,
he's like hitting the light. You're like walking out with her. She walks out first, and you look at the light, and you're like, I'm gonna fuck your mom. I love this scenario we painted. But we find another talent for Edward. We find his ability to cut dog hair. I feel bad for these dogs though, because they actually did have to basically get these haircuts. There was no obviously a lot of these actors have wigs and stuff. The dogs were not so lucky. They really had to rock that hairstyle. And some of them, I'm like, I don't know, man. That's like bare skinned. That's a little close for comfort. But they're all in like Florida and shit. I'm sure it's scorching hot weather down there. But I like how quick.
I was just curious, just how do you reckon they did these scenes of so the camera is like low, looking up at Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands, and like Scissorhands is like doing his thing with the dog, and then the hair's coming up from the frame. So I'm just like, how do you reckon they did this? Did they have like someone just out of frame lying down on his back, kind of like with like some hair and like a little fan kind of thing, just like blowing it up?
Right. There's just like four guys with a bag full of dog hair, like just like throwing it.
Can we talk about the whore of this town? Just absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
She comes.
When he cuts her. Well, because I remember the line being that was the second most thrilling experience of my life, and I don't know why. Maybe that's from another movie. I think I might be picking that up from somewhere. But there's something so insinuous about like, then what's the first? That's so creepy. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's the first time she like smothered somebody.
No, it's when she arrived to Earth, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the first time, as I was watching this, I was like, oh yeah, like I forgot. I knew that that whole exchange happened between them with Edward running off and she gets mad at him and stuff. I forget the fact that she literally starts telling people that he practically raped her. And I was like, whoa.
I was like, we've entered a new territory with this movie.
Yeah. we've hit a character that it's like, I don't know, man. I just personally, it's like doing shit like that. Like there should be way harsher penalties for making shit up like that. Like that's crazy.
Edward,
and also, right. There should definitely be harsher penalties for that too. Dude, but yeah,
14 years, like that's too low.
Yeah, come on. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, this whole scene with her sitting there in the chair and you've never watched Golden Girls, have you?
No, I haven't.
She's Blanche Devereaux, man. She's Blanche Devereaux all the way. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. We get a little montage here of like. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if I'm skipping through stuff that you want to say, like because like I know we kind of like we got a couple.
No, we're talking about cutting hair.
Yeah, cool.
Well, here's the thing that happens is that it goes from landscaping to 5 minutes
Right.
later it's
The
dog
dogs.
trimming, and then it becomes the hair
The hair
thing
one.
right after the dog thing. It happens very quickly,
Yeah.
so it might seem like we're skipping ahead, but we're really not. It happens very fast.
Dude, I mean, Edward Scissorhands, like, did he work with H.R. Geiger? Because like he cuts a face hugger right into someone's head, man. Like that is
Yeah,
that
one of those
is
chicks winds up looking like the Spice Girls, and she's got like those things coming down into her head. I tell you what I want,
these are
what I want, and
bad.
how I want it.
These are bad.
Oh, dude, yeah, they're so tacky, and but there's something so funny about that to me of like this beautiful soul in Edward making these really tacky haircuts that cracks me up. It's like what he bonds over with these women. It's so funny to me. Just these really obscure tacky haircuts. Um, and he hooks the whole town up. This is a great scene where she's on the phone talking to the Avon lady. They know all about Edward now. One of my favorite Edward moments in this whole movie is as she's sitting there and she's like, she had some really good ideas. He's like, I'm glad she had some really good ideas. And Diane Weiss goes, and Johnny Depp goes,
Mm.
and it was so cute, and it made me just like, oh, dude, that's so fucking funny, man. Like,
it's wholesome. There's a lot of wholesome moments in this movie. Like, that there's all
absolutely.
Like, when we see him give these atrocious haircuts to these women, and then he gives like Diane Waste a really nice, like, like a really actually pretty nice haircut. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's nice.
Well, the line of his, because obviously he's got to emote a lot through the eyes, but the line of his that absolutely like shatters me, and it's almost like a very offhanded thing, but just his performance of it really kills me, is when he goes to hand Winona Ryder the cut of the prime rib or whatever, and it falls in her lap, and his reaction is so genuine.
His
He
face,
goes,
yeah.
I'm sorry. And it's like, God, man, that's so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like, you can just tell he's just so heartbroken to do that. But speaking of getting your heart broken, he goes out and sees Anthony Michael Hall and Winona getting it on. They take off in the van.
They're about to
He's
get
there
it
to get his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's about to get his blade sharpened, which I think is fucking hilarious. She takes him to the store to get like his hands sharpened, basically.
Oh, I thought you meant that
Right.
Anthony Michael Hall was about to get his blade sharpened because
well, yeah, it's kind of a weird scene, because it's like he pulls up to the shopping mall, he sees her, and we have this whole like, oh my God, there she is, and then 5 minutes later, I mean, I don't know, like 45 seconds later, we're all back at home. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever.
We're back at home. And by the way, one of my favorite shots, it's very kind of like seemingly sort of like innocuous shot, but like it's them rolling up to the house. Like he gets out of the car, and the woman on the footpath is like walking her dog with the fucked up haircut, and she's got a fucked up haircut. And in the background, you can see the hedges, like the hedges have been like shaped, and it's just like, man, like there's so much happening in this one shot of like, look at what Edward has impacted. His arrival has impacted. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
right.
He's just kind of
literally
changed
like
this town. Yeah.
I think it's maybe it's on the nose, but it's like he has literally changed the landscape
Right.
of this area.
Yeah. Edward
we see
Scissorhands
that he
Total
has the-
Landscaping, right? This is where Rudy Giuliani is holding his next press conference.
That'd be so, dude. You know what his overhead would be with not having to pay like anybody else to do it? No equipment, no gas. I'm just saying, if Edward Scissorhands actually went out there and just started chopping, like, I mean, he'd have carpal tunnel in a week, but hell of a week, hell of a week.
He would need to fucking. He need to cut off his fucking hands, dude. Like, we need to.
He just like snorts coke and goes out there and just starts like chopping shit.
We need to amputate.
Everyone's like, oh, I think he's chopping up one of those ice sculptures, and it's just Edward like chopping up coke on a table, and instead of credit cards, he uses his fingers like.
I just picture. I don't know why. I just pictured this, but like Edward Scissorhands just working in that like fucked up kind of like warehouse that like RoboCop just walks into, like, and there's just coke everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just gets fucking annihilated.
I'd like to see that actually.
I mean, I'm just saying, he couldn't really kill him. He's not really a guy. I don't know.
They're both.
We'll search this on Reddit. Right? I'm sure it's on Reddit.
I'm sure.
RoboCop versus Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, it's up there. Hey, quick question: What is Edward Scissorhands? Is he a robot? He's a robot, right?
I don't know. I've heard
Because he
some people kind of
bleeds.
like go back. Right. Yeah, because I've heard some people just kind of go back and forth. Some people say he's a robot. Some people say he's an android. I think Johnny Depp was just like, yeah, he's just like a creation. He's just maybe
All
made up
right,
from other
Johnny.
body
You know
parts.
what?
Yeah, I
No,
know. Yeah.
no, you're gonna
Like,
escape with that.
yeah, it's like, because I kind of wondered the same thing. And I was like, yeah, I guess it's not important to the story, but I am curious. Is he all gears and bells and whistles in there, or is he like organic material sewn
Right.
together? Like, just out of
What are we working
curiosity.
with here? Yeah.
Right, right. Um, we see him on the television getting interviewed. He gets shocked. I'd love that. I'd give my left nut to see that again. Um, we see that the townspeople are really taking a liking to him. And we get the first little touch that Winona maybe, or Kim has a little soft spot for Edward.
Yeah, but I'm just like,
Ed,
also like, Edward's just looking into the camera. He's not looking at you. Like, it's just
but you know he's looking at her, dude. You know he is.
he's just wondering what this lens thing is.
Right. Well, and it's kind of interesting. Speaking of Winona Ryder, it's kind of Stranger Things ish, where it's like 11 is Edward and Mike is Kim,
Dude.
and it's kind of like once Edward meets some other, I just love if like every time he walked out in public, he was like, oh my God. And he just like fell in love with every woman he sees, because he's only ever met this one.
Yeah.
It's like the first cute chick he's ever seen.
Well, dude, some of the line delivery of like Winona Ryder sounds like Millie Bobby Brown in this movie. Like there are moments in them just like, oh damn, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, especially because
they're both 18.
it's so strange to think that, right. They're both in like the same age, and this, she is right now as to Winona was in this movie. And that's so weird to think about.
Don't
but
ask
it's
me
also
why Millie Bobby Brown is 18. By the way,
well, I do, because I saw there were people doing like countdowns and shit, and I was like, that's
Yeah, that's
the
weird.
internet never lets
It's
me
weird.
down.
Well, okay, but it also doesn't help that she, like, look, I'm not victim blaming at all. Like, this is going to come out so bad.
This is going to be good.
That was going to sound so bad. I'm just saying, like, she posts a lot of like photos that make her look a lot older than she actually is. You know what I mean? Like the very professional.
I know some people that were kind of confused. I think she's had like lip filler and shit.
Yeah,
some people were like, "Oh wait, hold on, like you look like a Kardashian."
Yeah. So I was like, okay, wait, how old is she? Like, she's 18 apparently.
Right, because like Gaten Matarazzo, he's like 20. I was like, holy hell!
Yeah.
Like some of them are deceptively, that look a lot older or younger, vice versa. But
and
yeah,
Finn
no,
Wolfhard looks like he's about to transform fully into Slender Man. Like, I mean, that's
yeah. Well, yeah, and he like a lot of them are. It's so strange to think about because there was such a gap between those seasons. It's like they're all like legal voting age.
Yeah.
Like that's so strange. Joyce, that's her name. That's the harlot of the neighborhood.
Yes.
Who is I mean, I'll be honest though. This actress, she does it for me for sure.
Really?
For sure. Oh, dude. Like when she unzips that when I was a kid, I was like, hey, she's got some guns on her. She definitely works out for sure. And then she's packing. I don't know. I mean, for one thing, she's an older woman. She works out. She's packing a great pair of tits, just to be honest. Nothing. I mean, I'm only a man. I'm only a man. Okay. No, but there was something about that character. I was just like, yeah, her hair is kind of short, which I was like, I've always been a fan of short hair.
All right. I see what did it for you.
I can do it.
Look, man.
Not the character. I mean, I would hate fuck the character, but
she looks like a monster. Like she looks grotesque. And like,
well, everybody in this town looks like they came out of fucking Whoville. Yeah. Like everybody looks like this is like oh God, what is his name? The guy that wrote no, he didn't write the Grinch. I'm thinking of the Grinch. Dr. Seuss. Yeah. It's crazy. I could not think of Dr. Seuss, but I was like Theodore something, whatever his first name. I knew his real name, but I couldn't think of Dr. Seuss. And he ends up running away from Joyce. She basically tries to assault him. This definitely feels like an adult tricking like a kid into doing weird shit. He's got a child's mind.
This makes you uncomfortable. This made me uncomfortable, especially those earrings.
Because she knows. Yeah, well, and how passive he is. She knows he's pretty much going to say yes to anything.
Right.
that she says. He's just that kind of trusting. Um, Great scene when he goes to eat with the family. He's like, yeah, and then she showed me the spot in the back where she took all of her clothes off. Again, Alan Arkin plow straight through it like it never even happened. Never. He's like that gif of the train just destroying that fucking car on the tracks. He just plows straight through it. And everybody else at the table is like visibly uncomfortable.
Dude, Diane Wade's face, like she's just like paused, like she's got like her fork up and she's like,
oh, it's so great. They say your next stop is the bank. You gotta take out a loan to start your business, but unfortunately he's not a human being. So they're not able to give him anything, and basically they put this kind of idea in his head: you need money to open the shop. This is where things kind of start falling into pieces, because we also find Anthony Michael Hall, the AMH. With Kim,
AMH.
and I'm just gonna start calling him that, the AMH, Anthony Michael Hall.
But this was also off the advice from the guy who worked at Bank.
Yeah.
Dude, that is one of my favorite cuts in this entire movie. It's
That's
just
so good.
Bank.
Where do you work?
Bank. Here's my business card. It's just Bank.
Where do you go to the bathroom? Toilet. That's fantastic. Bank. That's so funny. And I love that, because I feel like, to an extent, I wonder how purposeful that is, where it's supposed to make everything look kind of bland and like just, that's Bank. Doesn't have a name.
I believe
it's
it.
Name. It's just this.
Talk
bland
about like
kind of thing.
stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like it feels very
right
of the setting.
Yeah,
and
Whoville,
again,
for sure.
If we're being told that this is a fairy tale, it makes sense that everything is basic as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Jim, that's his fucking name. Anthony Michael Hall's Jim. And this is where he puts the idea in Edward's hands. Hey, we gotta go steal the stuff. These guys stole it from me. I gotta steal it back. And right away, plane goes to shit, and Edward gets busted. The group leaves him behind. Which is really, again, heartbreaking to watch, seeing him just like freak out in that room.
Oh, with the doorknob, yeah.
Oh, well, and you know what? It made me want a 70s conversation pit so bad. The thing that's in their room, that green, it's like a sunken in part of the floor, So basically, you would take like two little steps down, and then they're called
indent kind of thing.
Yeah, they're called they were big in the 70s, but they're called conversation pits. And it's like that's what I would love to have one of those. That looks so fucking cool, I think that's really rad. And I think they were big in like the 60s and the 70s, which makes sense. Again, where like Tim Burton's coming up. I think this movie is affected a lot by what Burbank was like in the 60s and shit. We see him get busted. Jim refuses to go back. Cops almost open fire on his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop right. Because, I mean, again, how do the cops not know that there is a man with scissor hands in this town?
Right. He was interviewed on the television.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he should be in every paper. There should be like Zeppelins in the sky about this town.
Oh, Chief. He's got weapons. He's got knives. But it's like, right. I remember there being a news report about a man loose in the town with knives for hands. Like, I mean, I don't understand. I don't know. Just one of those.
Wait, he's white.
He's
go
white.
be Scissorhands, guys.
White. Let's get this man a coffee. Let's get him a nice rug. Yep.
Yeah. Everybody, get him one of those blankets they give everybody in the movies.
Now, that police chief, I'm not sure about. I'm not sure.
That's what crap. Well, I wondered. I was like, man, this guy, I guess the black guy is the police chief, and then like everybody else in the town is white. And I was like, that's interesting, because it reminds me of Harvey from Batman '89, where the DA is black. He's like one of the only black characters in the whole movie. And I was like,
Williams.
Yeah, Lando, motherfucking Lando. One of the worst Battlefront 2 characters. I'm sorry, I hate it. I can't play it.
Ooh, I don't remember.
Not that fun. He's not great. If you didn't remember him, he wasn't that great.
Boba now.
He's okay. I like Boba. Yes, I love Boba's. I'm like maxed out. I like playing as Lando if I can play as Donald Glover.
Wait, you're talking about the
new
Battlefront 2 or the older one?
Oh, no, it's like 5 years old.
Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about the old school one. Old Batman or Battlefield.
Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, I mean, I played those, but I'm talking about like the dice ones, the ones that just
Yep,
came
yep, yep,
out
yep,
like
yep.
in the last like 5 or 6
Mhm.
years.
Yep.
Uh, Anybody ever want to play some Battlefront 2, by the way, hit me up. I play that all the time. Um, but they arrest Edward. Pretty hilarious. They put him on. They like slam him down on the hood, and they like just clink these like little parts of like his thumbs or something. I don't know. Um, the Bogs come and pick him up. They blame themselves, but then they also blame television, which is fucking hilarious. That absolutely, damn those television shows, damn them all to hell. And it's like your daughter dates a guy who put him up to this. There was no
Right,
television. I haven't seen anybody watch a TV except for y'all watching his interview. I haven't watched anybody watch a TV in this goddamn town. Um,
right.
and
This
the
is
psychiatrist says he's had no context. He's been completely cut off. Furthermore, his work, the garden sculptures, hairstyles, and so forth indicate that he's a highly imaginative character. I just a great line because it's how else what else can you use to describe this guy?
this is Diddler number 2 of the movie because
Oh, the Riddler Diddler.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
I
thought
mean
so.
the turtleneck. I mean, he looks like Paul Dano's father, right?
Yeah, I love like Batman. I'd love if Batman busted this guy and he's like, "I solved all your Riddlers, Riddler Diddler," and he's like, "Yeah, this guy molested like 30 kids while you were taking hours
Right,
to do this, and he shot 12 of them. It was absolutely awful."
right.
Uh, but yeah, I've seen this guy in a couple things. He always pops up. Again, a character actor. You know, I feel like he's just one of those people that once you see him, you just kind of remember him from stuff. Um, and after the Bogs come and pick him up, we get a bunch of chatty Cathys coming around. Says it could have been any of our houses. And I think there's even a part where in this movie that Joyce is like, yeah, and just imagine, I mean, them having that teenage daughter in the house after what he tried to do to me. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. The Bogs eventually come home, and we see that they're trying to score an interview, but they're trying to carry on like business as usual. She says we're still planning on having this Christmas party, and this is where things get a little, I don't know, because we see Kim and Edward have this scene together where she's like, you know um I tried to make Jim go back. I'm sure you flipped out when you figured out that it was Jim's house. And he's like, I already knew it was Jim's house. She goes, why did you do it? Because you asked me to. And here's the thing. On paper, maybe that's a line that just real, but dude, this is a line that like, I mean, she felt something so deep in her loins, she had to tell her fucking grandkids about it.
Mm,
It's like the old joke of I'll hit you so hard your grandkids will hurt. It's like she like, and I get it. There is kind of this maybe at the time this weird perfect just because you asked me to do it I did it. That's fucking crazy for one thing. And I do think that but I think that when you start looking at it through this lens of like ultra realism, it all it's this it's the same reason that why does the kiss from a prince wake up sleeping beauty? Why are you kissing a sleeping woman? You kind of have to start throwing a lot of shit to the side for these fairy tales to work. And that's the again, I think it's a valid criticism though as a film though, is like maybe set it up a little bit more, maybe have her friends catching her watching him at some point and be like, what you looking at, Edward? Like you need, I think, subtle things throughout the movie to really kind of drive that home. That's the only thing I think maybe, they could have spent a little bit more time on. But for how long she's in the movie, that's the only thing. She's missing out of 40 minutes of an hour and 45-minute long movie. So I don't know. She's almost out of a third of it. So I think that like to an extent, I get it, but at the same time, I think that's a valid criticism of them setting that up better. Um,
I think that's a solid point. Like I mean,
oh,
she's
thank you. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
no, I mean, like
I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
it just you reinforce what I'm saying earlier. Like that, you're making this movie. The fundamental element of this movie is the relationship, right? And again, I buy that that Edward Scissorhands is into Winona Ryder's character, into Kim, because she comes off as sweet and innocent and lovely and whatever. But I don't like yeah, like there's not enough time dedicated to Kim
Hmm.
on Edward. You know what I mean? Like, I just by the time they kiss at the end, I don't buy it. You know?
Right. Like I kind of wish they had set this up where it's like, no, they're dating. Like she is officially a thing with Edward, and then you have Anthony Michael Hall and Joyce coming together and plotting some kind of like, no, fuck both of them.
Right.
We're Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito and Batman Returns now, or something like I don't know.
You just
But
want to you just want to see Joyce in that catsuit. You son of a
yeah,
bitch.
I wouldn't mind it. I'm just saying. Um, but we see Edward go ham in that bathroom in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
That is fucking crazy, man. That's one of the few moments in the movie. It's like, whoa, this guy could really fuck shit up. Um, and Alan Arkin trying to lay down some life lessons. Says if you find some money in the park, what are you supposed to do? Supposed to leave it alone.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's A.
What is D? It's A, keep it for yourself. B, I can't remember all the shit that he says. But I love that Edward's like, I just buy stuff for my family. And he's like, no, that's wrong, Edward. And it's like, well, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
untraceable.
There's a
untraceable.
Yeah,
cash.
I mean, I could go buy drugs with this,
Right.
Instead of buying stuff for people.
It's funny. We should have put this up as a poll. We should have put this up as a poll, like in the week leading up to it, because I would have loved to see. I would love to see how much values have changed since 1990, because
yeah,
it'll either be A or B. It won't be at all. It's like at no point will it be turning into the police. Like I doubt anyone's going to vote for that.
right, exactly.
The last thing the government needs is more money. Like, come on.
Right, that's just going to sit in an evidence locker until it disappears. The serial numbers aren't found.
Right.
And there's something I love so much about Kevin, though, as a character. He is such a boy. When he was like, "Oh, they got these baby possums. They're totally hairless." His mom's like, "Kevin, can we stay on track?" But Edward says, "Hey, I'd give it to my loved ones." And I love Alan Arkin. He goes, "No." And he's so disappointed. Basically the whole scene is them trying to lay down this like life lesson, and some of this does feel like filler almost at points, like we're really kind of like not very little of it. There's just, I like the phone calls in between the women. Like I do like those, but some of these scenes where I'm like, I didn't really need this scene of dad trying to lay down right and wrong with Edward. It's funny, I guess, but I was like, I didn't really add anything for me. And it just goes on a little long.
I like it. I like this. I actually really like the scene because, like, I think it tells you. I mean, like, we know that Edward is kind of hot and cares more about others than himself, because, like, I mean, he does choose option B, which is gifted to others, whatever. This is someone who doesn't really have any value in money, like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't find, like, he's not getting paid for haircuts, he's not getting paid for landscaping. It's not like he's asking for money. Like, this is someone who's just kind of come in and like relies more on relationships than an actual physical currency. So, like, I like what this scene is telling us, that, like, over anything else, he'll take care of the people that that he loves. I
he's full of shit.
I thought
he's lying. He's giving a politician's answer because he's a politician's man. We
take that cash and get some new blades, bitch.
Yeah. Well, speaking of blades, the thing that I like is that, as the movie goes on, he tries to hang out with Kevin. Kevin doesn't really want to talk to him. The Diane Weiss asks for another haircut. And if you're looking at his shirt, it's becoming more and more torn.
Yep.
As things go on. And then eventually he just sheds, he is Danny DeVito in Batman Returns. I am not a man. I am a bird. He's ripping all the shit off. I like that a lot. Just this kind of like this slow decay, it almost seems like. We're really revving up towards Christmas now. We get Winona dancing out in the snow. I really and honestly a great scene, a beautiful. I put this toe to toe as probably one of the best film scores of all time.
Get fucked, really?
I fucking love, dude. That is iconic. That's so. But you gotta understand, this is this movie. Honestly, is more close to my age range, but also I don't think regionally it's as popular as it is here. I don't think so. Like I know you said Steph liked it, but I still feel like here this movie's a
Oh
big
no,
deal.
people
Like
like this
Edward
movie.
Scissorhands.
I'm not saying it's a big deal. Like I think you know what? It's not quite on the level of Big Fish. Like you know what I mean? Like Big Fish, no
Mhm.
one I can guarantee you no one in my friend circle has seen that movie or even heard about it. But like Edward Scissorhands, absolutely. Like, you know, like you'll
Yeah.
find that it is pretty
I just
beloved.
man,
Yeah.
like out of all of Danny Elfman stuff, like I love you can tell Danny Elfman when you hear him. Like I love the Fable games because he does such a great job on the Fable soundtracks. I love a lot of this, even with his Oingo Boingo was really interesting. But the the soundtrack to this is just so hauntingly beautiful, and it's so simple at the same time. It's not this big marching thing, but eventually at some point at the end, and she was like, "Sometimes you can still see me dancing in it." Ba 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 ba. Like God, they do such a great job with the sound of it. That it's not so much the quantity of what's going on; it's the quality and the personality of the music that's being played. It's like I could hear that and tell you anywhere that that's Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
But and it's not really that special though. That's the crazy thing. It's like you hear dun 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 dun. It's like okay, that's Terminator.
Right.
You know, like that's pretty iconic. But Edward Scissorhands is like nothing really. It's just a melody, you know, but it's hauntingly beautiful. I
Yeah.
love it.
It might also be that movies have moved away from this kinds of score now, from this kind of score. Like, you know,
Mm,
the orchestral choral sort of like like you know what I mean? Like now
right.
we get a lot of drums. We get a lot more sort of like right,
Blah,
yeah.
that fucking noise all the
I
time.
think I think you know Hans is really I mean like he's the guy, right? Like he's the
Right.
composer. So like in the early 90s in the 80s it was Elfman, you know, coming in with bum 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 bum
Right.
like you know and then like that kind of like that all of that landscape kind of really changed with like the Batman Begins, the Dark Knight. I mean like you know even like the Last Samurai whatever. But yeah, like I get what you mean. I just think that this kind of score really, for me, it dates the movie a little. Like you know what I mean? Like it
I
definitely
think
dates
that's
it.
fair. Yeah.
Um, but every time I think of like Daddy Elfman, I think of Blue Harvest.
I do
Dude,
too. Oh yeah, and he fucking cuts his head off. That's
dude.
yeah, that's immediately it's incredible. Out of all of the stuff that the Beetlejuice, the bum 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 bum, the crazy Beetlejuice theme, and it's like I think of oh great, now we have to do this with Danny
Danny
Elfman. And,
Elfman. Yeah,
um,
John Williams.
we again, Edward is making it rain on these bitches in suburbia. Um, he accidentally ends up cutting Kim in the hand. Jim shows up and freaks out. She tells him to get the hell out of here. Um, and we get that great your favorite Alan Arkin scene. Hey
Dude.
Ed, where you going?
Dude.
It's framed so well. His body language is just like, huh? Will you look at that?
He's just like, hey.
You know who this dad could have been? This could have been Norm Macdonald.
Dude, yes.
Hey,
Hey, hey,
hey, Ed, where you going?
hey, Dad, you left the kid out again. You forgot to close the gate.
Yeah,
Peg.
there's a guy. He's got scissors for hands. It's like I love Norm Macdonald. He's so fucking
God
funny.
damn it, Kim. You forgot
Um,
to lock the gate again. Now the fucking kid's out. God damn it.
yeah, that kid's out there and he's cutting edges. Um, but Edward goes a little postal. You know, he goes around slashing stuff. I love it is so like a rage-filled kid thing to do where like you walk up and you hit something hard and then you go like, "Oh, my fucking hand." And he stabs that tire and gets his arm stuck.
Right.
I laughed so hard. Like I thought that was so fucking that is such a little kid thing to do and not realize like, "Oh shit. I shouldn't have done that."
Can we
Um,
just take a little bit of a breather and just say and have a look at the situation, right? So like okay, so Edward Scissorhands is sitting up here in this castle. He's watched his father essentially die, right? Like just
mhm,
keel over and die. One day a woman walks in and, you know, decides to bring him down the mount or down like to suburbia.
mhm.
Again, without his consent. We didn't see him say yes, so no consent. Um And then she just kind of like loans him out to different people for like haircuts and other landscaping
Yeah,
duties.
she kind of whores him out a little bit.
Is this is this an allegory for slaves? Is this the is this America? Is this the British? Like yeah, I'm curious, man. Like is this the British taking people from India and just saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, yo, we're in Fiji now, cultivate the fucking sugar canes?"
Yeah, I think that Diane Weiss, she represents white man's guilt over the enslavement of many people. No, I'm just kidding. What I think is that Diane Weiss represents the liberal, just like a real asshole version of this. But Edward's rampage. That's where we're at. He's coming back. He's slashing tires. He's taking names. He's chopping hedges, and he gets the cops called on him again. You know, can't be running around acting a fool on the block, Edward. You're gonna get the cops called on you. He fucks with the demon lady that I love. He puts
Dude.
that demon head in her front. It took me forever to. I was like, as a kid, I couldn't quite figure out what it was. It's like I know it's scary looking, but it's kind of hard to. You know, I was watching on some shit ass VHS player in
Looks like Ace
1996
Ventura
or
when he's got
something.
the horns. You know, he's got the.
Yeah. Oh my
Can
god.
we talk about this woman's place of residence? Because this is wild, man. This is okay. Like this is intense. This is very.
Yeah.
When I say this, I'm just like, how are Christians not a cult? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, some of these people, it's like, where do you work? A fucking candle factory?
right,
Like, how the hell do you afford all this shit?
right,
You must spend, like, this lady spends more time lighting candles than I get on my fucking lunch break.
right.
You know, it's like, I don't understand this.
You've plugged this giant crucifix into the wall. It sucks the entire power of the town. Like,
Oh, no, she doesn't have power. She doesn't use running electricity. Come on.
right,
But she has
right.
all the candles. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
She doesn't allow warm water because that would be
Oh,
some kind of
of course.
pleasure,
The
you
the
know?
power of the Lord keeps everything alive. Yep. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, when she has a wet dream, she beats herself. She gets like a cat of nine tails and just whips herself in the back. Um, yeah, there's definitely a Carrie White mom thing going on here. You know,
Oh yeah,
like for sure, she's kind of a parody. That's one thing I like is that all the characters are like parodies of you know, or they're caricatures of the jock, the loner, the horny housewife, the absent-minded father, the little brother. Everybody's kind of an archetype of that character, and I like it. It fits well. Excuse me. It fits well for a fairy tale. You know, no one's a really deep and complex character in a fairy tale. You know,
yeah, I agree.
that just doesn't really happen. And once again, he's wanted by the police. I love it. He shows up and he's like, have you seen the man with the scissor hands? And Diane Weiss says, and he goes, he's not here. Thanks. And walks, he just walks off like he already fucking knows.
The shot through the window
We
is awesome, by the way.
Oh, dude, yes, absolutely. Well, and I love it feels like because there's no snow anywhere, but there's Christmas lights. Like it feels so strange. The color of the house, it's nighttime, there's no snow, it's these Christmas lights. That shot is very Michelle Pfeiffer. Hello, hell there, like that neon
Yeah.
sign and Batman Returns. That's all I could think of. But also it kind of blows my mind that like I know Winona and Tim Burton worked together a couple times, but that Tim Burton and Christina Ricci never did anything. It's like you guys seem like a match made in heaven. You know, maybe that's just me being like very basic, you know, but I don't know. I feel like Christina Ricci and Tim Burton like would have probably done some pretty cool shit in the 90s. Like come
It took
on,
me a
man.
second, man, because like my first reaction is always that Tim Burton did the Addams Family, but he didn't because that was Barry Sonnenfeld.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Which is very Tim Burton in it. I love Barry
Oh, me
Sonnenfeld though,
too.
but very
Dude,
Tim Burton
apparently
in its own right.
Sonnenfeld's book is great. I really want to pick that up. His
Yeah, because he was a DP. He did like Misery and shit. You
dude,
know?
he was directing porn.
We talked about him a lot.
He started off in the porn business.
Oh, was he
Yeah,
really?
he's got a lot of stories.
Good for him. Good for him. Bad for those actors, but good for him. After this exquisite window shot that Zoho talks about. We get Alan Arkin coming in and says they can't find him anywhere. He says, we're going to go looking for him. You stay here in case anybody comes back. They say Kevin is over at Max's, which is very important. Because as the night kind of unfolds, that'll mean a little bit more. But Edward finally returns home. We get this really touching scene between he and Kim. Yeah, I like this. It's one of the few times that we've seen these characters really be themselves, like to themselves and to each other.
It's nice.
I like that a lot. In a world that, like, why this feels so good is because everything around them is just this like plastic, artificial, fake kind of thing. And, but this is like one of the only real things. It feels like everything else is almost like a matter of convenience. Like a lot of these people got married for convenience, or, they're not really in love anymore. They're in love with buying new cars and getting TVs and VCRs and stuff like that. Like they're about getting things now, but they're not really like in love like these two are. But which is a fine point. But again, I feel like what you said, and I agree with that. You need to set that up a little bit more. This needs to be more established, their whole relationship dynamic. Because right now he just looks like a creep who just happened to manipulate her into falling for him. Like it doesn't feel very like reciprocated. But you can't get past the line. She's like, hold me. He's like, I can't. Like, oh, dude, it's simple but great. And as he holds Kim, we have this great final memory of the late great Vincent Price. Of course, him dying, I guess, of a heart attack or something. Something.
I'm assuming
I
it's
think
a heart
the
attack,
irony.
Yeah.
Well, and the irony in the heart attack, and like the first idea he has of Edward is him holding up the heart-shaped cookie, and I'm like, that's cool. Like I like that. I will never forget as long as I live Edward stabbing his fingers through the hand.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It's unsettling as hell. But God, there's just, imagine being a kid and going to bed and Vincent Price is reading you the stories. Like you would never fucking sleep again. Like I just couldn't imagine him as a little kid and be like, and the three little pigs went. I'd be like, Dad, shut the fuck up. I'd make him put on like a Batman voice modulator, like telling me fucking stories and shit. And unfortunately, the creator dies. Really poignant when Edward goes to touch his face and he cuts him, and it's like, yeah, everything you turn. Anthony Michael Hall kind of said everything you touch turns to shit. You fuck up a lot of stuff that because you can't be a part of this. But and I think one of the most genius shots of this whole movie is the shot of Edward. He's looking at his bloody fingers, not a cut on his face. He's just he's Johnny Depp in 1989, just fucking. And then it cuts to him holding her, and his face is cut the fuck up. Like his lips, like all over his nose, on the top of his head. And it's like, dude, how long has this guy been alive? Like that's crazy. How long has he been alone up there? We cut back over to Jim. We see him kind of stewing and brewing in the van. He forces his friends to drive drunk because he's a real, just in case you didn't think he was a piece of shit yet. Now he's really a piece of shit. And forces his buddy to drive him over there to Kim's place. Again, we get that guy. Anybody caught the cripple yet? Fantastic.
Dude, I love how he does the claws. Cripple. Yes.
Well, it cracks me up. The guy who has a plate in his hip calls somebody else a cripple. And I'm like,
it's a dog ate dog well, baby.
Right. It fucking kills me. The Jim and his buddy almost run over Kevin, but luckily Edward is there to save the day. Gets a little bit of a everybody gets a little confused because Edward, tries to hug his face with his hands, but forgets his silly old Edward forgets his hands are knives. Idiot.
You really had
it did hit a point
that your whole life. How could you forget?
There was a point that I was like, okay, buddy, stop touching him. like you got to stop touching that kid. Yeah. Because there's just something.
Wise words from Colin. You gotta stop touching that kid.
Yeah, stop. You gotta stop touching that kid. You gotta stop fingering that kid. You got your fingers all over. And
you know what, man? If only Kevin Spacey listened to you, man. If only.
Yeah, right. You still have a career. I can still talk about Usual Suspects. Now the thing that kills me is it shows this point of view shot from Kevin looking at Edward, and you just see him like on top of him doing the crazy fingers. And it's like, dude, if you're really doing that, that kid looks like fucking
Hamburger
Leatherface
meat.
by the end of
Yeah.
this exchange.
Yeah.
This kid looks like a child tried to cut a pizza. You know, like this kid's gonna look fucked up. Jim tries to intervene. He fucking slashes him in the arm. It's like, how smart are you to challenge a guy who has 10 knives to a fist fight?
Said. I'm just
what
like,
a moron.
What the fuck are you doing, dude? This guy has fucking murder weapons attached to his body, man.
Literally.
Like, I don't understand what you're trying to do. And he gets slashed, and he's like, oh, like.
Right. He's totally like caught off guard and surprised. Like, oh man, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Great shot of Edward just running down the street with the cop car slowly behind him.
Slowest car chase.
I remember that being a lot more. Yes. And I remember that being a lot more cinematic when I was younger. And now I watch it and I was like, I don't remember that as well. But I love the cop. I love the cop walking up and just shooting the gun and being like, well, my job's done, and goes home, and that's it, never to be seen again.
My wife.
Well, and part of me wonders, is it a thing of like, because the doctor told him, hey, this guy, through no fault of his own, it just hasn't had any,
point.
And I wonder if the cop is like, hey, I'm just going to say that you're dead, or like this is over with, and try to get these people to leave you alone. But at the same time, maybe stick around and make sure the mob disperses, because he just kind of leaves with all of them there.
Yeah, and like now the mob is just willfully just going to trespass and go and walk up this hill a little bit and then turn around again. Right.
It's like it's like if the Whoville had a January like riot, when they tried to hit
the
Congress.
Insurrectionists.
It's like it's like Whoville. It's Whoville insurrection. Oh, it's so stupid. That's
fuck. There's that guy in the, what is the bull mask? That's
the guy with like he looks like a fucking Fallout New Vegas character. Like he's got those horns and like the cloth on.
Shit. That's great.
That guy got super arrested. By the way.
Oh yeah. Well, you're a fucking idiot then.
Yeah, fucking moron. One of the cast of Bob's Burgers, the guy who plays Jimmy Pesto, got caught at the riots. It's like, what an idiot. Like, what a fucking
I knew I hated
moron,
that show
man.
for a reason.
Yeah. Thank God he's not in the movie at all. I was like, man, please don't fucking ruin this. But Edward gets chased back. The cop, I think, is trying to cut a little bit of slack, fires the gun in the air, basically chases him off. The mob still kind of pushes on him, though. He asks if I hurt Kevin. If I hurt Kevin, says no, he's okay. He was just scared. Again, his first thing that he asked her is if somebody else is okay. It just really, it shows the selflessness of his character. They're literally just about to kind of have that moment, and Anthony Michael Hall rocks up with this pistol, fires like one shot off, and then I guess the thing just fucking disappears. I don't know what the hell happens. Like it just goes off and then the gun's gone. But I like the fact that I don't know, it's kind of interesting as in like, let's give him a gun and show that he has lethal intent, but then immediately remove it from him. Like he doesn't even try to find it in the pile. He's like, I'm just going to beat him to death. It's like, dude, you have a gun in the it's literally like somewhere right there. Just grab the gun. But I think that once once you see the gun, it's just like, nah, he's okay. Now this is not just a beating anymore. Like you're shooting someone to kill them. This is, I think they're setting up Edward murdering this guy, basically, in self-defense, air quote. And I love Winona. I love her taking his glove to his throat and being like, "Hey, perfect. You fuck off, or I'll." That's so cool. And like, I don't know, there's just something about her grabbing Edward and just using that arm as a weapon. I was like, "That's rad, dude, man." I was like, "That's really cool."
Depp's face as he drives Anthony Michael Hall towards the window. It's so determined,
Yes, and it's so like I have no guilt about this at all, and I know that if I don't do this now, you're going to be a problem. Apparently I guess I don't know if they told him or he had to, but Johnny Depp lost 25 pounds to play it. I was like, he's not a big guy at all. Like 25 pounds is kind of a lot for someone that size. Said he refused a lot of like cooling and agents and stuff. He said he just, it's hot ass leather. I think they said they were 5 miles outside of Miami or something. So it's, it's hot as
They filmed
shit.
this in Miami. Wow,
Um,
wouldn't even thought of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's somewhere, some town like 5 miles outside of Miami. Funny story. They were like, yeah, we went to everybody in this town and said, hey, we want to film here, and basically everybody was like, everybody said yes except for a couple of houses, and they were holding out trying to get money out of us. And right as we were fixing to be like, yeah, we're just gonna have to shoot around your houses, they caved, and we're just like, okay, we'll take it from blah blah. They're like, we're not giving you anything, like we're not paying jack shit for this. But so long, Anthony Michael Hall. The mob approaches. She, she finally says that she loves him, which is questionable. I get, but the reaction from Depp is not. The second she
Yes.
says it, and his eyes just drop, and
Yes.
it's like, that's just so like better to loved and lost than never loved at all. Is I could almost be like a motto for this story. Even if you live an entire life like some kind of vampire monster, and she lives to be 90 and dies. But she gets the glove, after kissing him and telling him that she loves him. She goes outside and convinces everybody it was a tie. They both died. The roof collapsed in on
It
them.
was a tie.
It was a tie. I love the woman from 2.5 Minutes. She's like, I'm going home. and it's so it's so an admission of guilt, but then also just like this is just like theater to you.
Yeah.
I'm done watching this show now. I'm going home. It's like, what the
boring
fuck,
now.
man? Like
Yeah.
people are dead.
But also, let's just disregard this kid that's just lying here in the mud. Like,
right. No,
dude,
nobody comes and puts like a jacket over him or anything.
the day after that cop comes back with a fucking warrant and raids this place.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love they find like a sweatshop in the bottom of this place. Like, yeah, this place made this guy made Mr. Burns from The Simpsons look like fucking Steve Irwin.
Oh shit.
But I love Joyce is the last one to leave. Just she has I feel like it's just a total guilt face of walking away, of just like, God, what have I, not that this is her fault, but she is, definitely a major contributor to this whole situation and driving Edward out of town. She says she never saw him again. So abrupt.
Yeah.
And I almost hate it, but it's just so like, God damn it.
It's
fucking
tragic.
knew that, but I didn't want you to, I didn't want it confirmed.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder's old woman voice drives me nuts.
Drives me nuts. But also this I guess I don't know if they're playing this for a twist. Like I'm the old woman now.
Right.
And then like it just reminds me of The Office. One of my favorite episodes ever is Threat Level Midnight, which is Stanley basically narrating this entire story, and like it's at the end it's like Michael, and like he looks at the camera and he's like, well, because I am Michael Scarn. And it's just like that. That's just what it reminds me of, dude.
Right. It's like, because I feel like if they had, maybe just gotten a different voice, gone like a league of their own or something, just gotten somebody different. But the final lines are great. She says, but you could still go up there. You never went back. You never went up there never went up there to see him. She goes, well, I'm an old woman now. I would prefer that he remember me the way that I was. Which is a great sentiment. I really, really enjoy that. We get kind of our final check-in on Edward, and we see him, tending to the garden, just going back to life as usual. Which, you almost like in that moment, you almost feel this total sense of sadness. And then you're like, but this is just kind of where this guy belongs.
Right.
He just doesn't fit in this,
before the evil
kind of,
Avon lady just stole him.
Right. Yeah. Well, now everyone's kind of know like, oh yeah, that's an abandoned house. Well, hey, we got to build a fucking McDonald's there, and they just knock him out.
Let's get some condos in there. Yeah.
Right. His granddaughter asks if he's still alive. She goes, I believe so. She goes, well, how do you know? Afterwards, he went up to the mountain. It never snowed before he went up there, and if he weren't up there now, I don't think it would be snowing. Sometimes I can still see myself dancing in it. Sometimes you can still catch me dancing in it, is the line. That's such a great fucking line to end on. And the shot of the snow coming out of the window and coming down. I was like, God, I love seeing that, man.
How does Edward order blocks of ice? I wonder.
You know what? It's so funny you say that because I watched just out of curiosity, I kind of pulled up. I was like Edward Scissorhands. I watched some stuff on YouTube. I'll look at reviews of the time and stuff like that. And there was somebody who was like, "How does?" Is like, okay, and I know there's been a lot of people asking, "How does Edward get the blocks of ice up there?" And the answer is, it doesn't fucking matter. I laughed so hard,
It's so
and I was
true.
like, but part of me is kind of like, is this, where the fuck is this guy having Amazon shit dropped off? Like, where's this ice coming from? Like, it's not like he lives on a mountain. He's not the Grinch. I don't understand. There is part of me that was like, I mean, yeah, I guess you got a giant ass hole in your ceiling. You can probably make fucking ice somewhere. Um, but hey, man, that's Edward
That's
Scissorhands.
it. That's it, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Final thoughts or comments?
Um,
I don't even know if we have any comments.
we do. We've got one from. Well, I mean, like we got a couple. A couple short ones, but one substantial one from Jose, our man. Um,
Oh, nice.
but yeah, look, let me just bring up that comment real quick. Quick, vamp for a second while I bring this up. Just talk shit. As you,
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
no, I've already
I
got it. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, sounds good.
Ronica Haynes. That's a new name. I don't recognize that name.
She's a friend of
Oh,
mine.
okay. Thanks, Ronica,
Mhm.
for commenting. She's just saying that both are exceptional choices to our post where we said that we're doing Edward Scissorhands and stick around for what we do in the shadows. That's going to be a green room
Mhm.
episode that we're recording after this. These two episodes will drop at the same time. So if you're listening to this episode, you can head over to patreon.com/midnight double feature to listen to our What We Do in the Shadows episode. Jessie Privet also echoes her thoughts, saying that love both of these. Excellent stuff. But Jose is the one with the substantial comment this week. Thank you so much, Jose. He says,
Mhm.
I remember watching Edward Scissorhands as a kid and feeling like it didn't have an happy ending. Edward doesn't end up with Kim and has to go into hiding, even though he was a jerk. Sorry, even though he was a jerk, Jim dies. And yet, it was a happy ending. I couldn't process that as a kid, but as an adult, I think it's oddly beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't really consider it from that.
I mean, yeah, like if we do look at it from the angle of this is where Edward belongs, right? This is where he's not maligned. This is where he's not thought of as like a criminal or an outcast.
Right.
And Kim, I mean, on Kim's end, well, I don't really care about Kim because she kind of played him. So, you know,
Well, yeah, and there's part of me that's I don't know. There's part of me that's like, I hate to say it, not really interested in Kim as a as a character, because it's just, she's just very like, I feel like there's not a lot about Edward, but there's even less about Kim. But again, fairy tale.
right.
I kind of have to be like, it's almost like a gothic Princess Bride. Like, I almost have to put myself in that same kind of headspace and just be like, well, it's a little bit more fairy tale than like comedy, but it's still got some funny moments.
Yeah, exactly. Final thoughts. Let's close it off.
I enjoy this movie a lot. Might be my favorite Tim Burton. I don't know. Big Fish and Batman Returns are just so up there. But Edward Scissorhands will always hold a really special place in my heart. It's just I'd say it's probably one of the first movies I ever saw that I considered really like a gothic like kind of movie. And again, I just don't think it can really be fucked with on so many levels other than like the storytelling. Yeah, it's a little bit shaky, but again, the sound, the characters, the soundtrack, all these different things are work so well together. Colleen Atwood is the costume designer who also came up with like the Black Parade
Oh,
costumes from
perfect.
My Chemical Romance. Colleen Atwood's great.
Oh, by the way,
But I
just
think all
really,
those
really
things.
quickly while we're there, because My Chemical Romance
Hmm,
never comes up naturally on the podcast. I was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man Beyond, and like he was talking about because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clerks 3's coming out, right? And he was talking about the opening 5 minutes, and apparently it's set to Welcome to the Black Parade. Like it's like a montage. And I'm just
Oh,
like, I
cool.
am
Yeah,
down for
he
that, man.
He is a crazy like
Yeah.
nerd. Like, he flips out about that song on YouTube. He's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's just incredible. And I was like, holy shit, man, he really likes that song. Um, But yeah, I love this movie a lot. It's always going to be very like a a romantic movie, but romantic in a very immature and like naive kind of way. It's very it's Romeo and Juliet, a gothic Romeo and Juliet meets like Princess Bride in a way. But I'll always come back and watch this every once in a while. It's just God, it's so good. It always does it for me.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly enjoyable. I think this could benefit from an extra 15 minutes, make it a solid 2 hours, and flesh out the love story a little bit. But I think it's got solid performances across the board, especially from Diane Weiss and Johnny Depp and Alan Arkin. The production, like you said, is absolutely beautiful to look at. It's Bo Welch. The score is what it is. I think it dates the movie, but it definitely fits. It's
Hmm.
it makes it feel more fairy tale like, right? It really adds to it, I think. Um,
For sure.
I'm not the biggest fan of Tim Burton. Like, I'm just not. He's definitely got a style, and that's definitely his lane, and he knows it. I just I don't know. I'm a little lower than you on this one. Because I don't fully know what it's trying to say. But I think it's a
Right.
great fairy tale version of Frankenstein.
Yeah. I think that's what it tries to pull off, and I think it pulls it off pretty
Yeah.
well. I think it's a very
Oh, and
uh
it's hilarious.
cosmetically, yes. It's really funny, but it's somehow sad and funny and like artistic and gothic, all the stuff at the same time. It just looks just fantastic. But is that all your thoughts?
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, if you've made it this far of the episode, we appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to this movie. Listen to us ramble for the last 2 hours. We've had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys want to hang around for our Green Room episode, you're going to have to go to patreon.com/midnight double feature and join the Green Room. It's $5 a month. You get 2 extra episodes, $2.50 a month per episode. That's what a great deal. And you can go to our website and order some merch, rate and review us on iTunes. It would really, really help us out a lot. We've been seeing some growth on the podcast recently, which is really, really nice. We've got some things on the horizon, some sticks in the fire, as it were, and that's not possible without you guys reviewing the show and signing up for the Green Room and downloading these episodes. So we really appreciate it, and keep up the good work. This whole thing is pretty much spread by word of mouth, and it's been going really well lately. So we just want to say thanks to you guys, and just keep up the great work, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.